It's a video of Bernie Sanders being asked a very simple and basic question about Israel-Palestine. Listen to what he said.
Bernie, Senator, why do you continue to say that Israel has a right to defend itself when it's committing a genocide? It's not defense. They're murdering Palestinians. They bombed a school just 24 hours ago. How can you keep saying that it has a right? It's on occupied land, the land of my ancestors. They killed my own family.
Bernie Sanders somehow has no words. Either he can't speak or he can't hear or both, because the man asked a very clear question. Now, let me establish some benefit of the doubt for you, because some of y'all are going to say, well, Bernie can't answer everybody who heckles him. That's fair. Senators and representatives in the Congress get asked questions all the time on video, trying to get caught in a gotcha moment. The asker often is trying to catch them in a gotcha moment. And so I get that you can't answer everybody, but I find that they answered the questions they want to answer. If they said, Senator, do you support Israel's right to exist? I guarantee you he would have said yes. If they said, Senator, do you support just economic justice? I guarantee you Bernie would have said yes. But suddenly, when it's a question he doesn't want to answer, he gets quiet. And here's the thing. Bernie has been consistently trash on the issue of Israel-Palestine since October 7th. So this is not an outlier. Bernie Sanders has been a political coward on this issue since October 7th, since day one. When it first happens, Bernie Sanders is out here saying all the same talking points that everybody else was. For years, Bernie got the benefit of the doubt because he said we need to hold Israel accountable for human rights violations. We need to hold Israel accountable and condition funding on them acting right toward Palestinians. And we all said, okay, Bernie, it's a low bar, but at least you cleared the bar. He was still better than everybody else on the issue who was running for president. But then October 7th comes, and now Bernie's basically saying you can't. He's saying all the same stuff, right? He's supporting Israel's genocidal war. He's not repudiating Israel's actions in the Gaza Strip for almost a month after October 7th. Now, at some point, he starts to say, okay, this is too far. He starts to say, okay, at some point, Netanyahu must be stopped. But Bernie Sanders has consistently been cowardly on this issue. First of all, Bernie Sanders always makes it seem as if the issue with Israel is Netanyahu's far right-wing government. Listen to Bernie Sanders. That's what he always says. Netanyahu's far right-wing government is causing these problems. No, it's not. This is a fundamental problem with the state of Israel as an ethno-state, as an apartheid state, as a state founded on inequality and settler colonialism. There is a foundational structural problem with Israel, just like there's a foundational structural problem with the United States, just like there's a foundational structural problem with France. But we don't want to talk about that. So when Bernie makes it seem like all we got to do is get rid of Netanyahu, we can go back to the status quo, he's reinforcing the problem. Because then even if you got rid of Netanyahu right now, Benny Gantz back, who's not that progressive, but he's certainly to the left of Netanyahu at this point. You still have illegal settlements in the West Bank. You still have a siege in Gaza. You still have inequality inside of the state of Israel. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, you got the same problems. But Bernie is able to use that easy talking point to let him off the hook for actually critiquing Israel as an ethno-state. And he keeps saying Israel has a right to defend itself. Of course, Israel has a right to defend itself. Every country has a right to defend itself. Every nation state has a right to defend itself within reasonable boundaries and within reasonable conditions under international law. No country has a right to defend itself in areas that it occupies. I can't occupy a place and say I have a right to defend myself. That's like me running up in your crib with a gun, trying to rob your house, and then you try to shoot at me, and I shoot back and say it was self-defense. No, it'd be self-defense if you shot at me on the street. It ain't self-defense in your house. But Bernie uses the language of Israel has a right to defend itself because it's like kissing a baby. No one's going to object to it. No one's going to get mad about it. No one's going to push back against it. No one's going to get frustrated about it because when you do that, it makes you politically palatable. But what Bernie should be saying is the question of Israel's right to defend itself has absolutely nothing to do with the question of the Gaza Strip. It has absolutely nothing to do with what's happening in the West Bank under illegal occupation. If you want to talk about what happened on October 7th on Israeli territory, you can talk about the right to defend oneself. And you can say you're at war and you're going to battle at war. You can have that debate. You can have that conversation. But what's happening in Gaza right now, 4 schools were bombed in 4 consecutive days. Innocent children were killed 4 consecutive days who were hiding. That ain't the right to defend oneself. Hospitals destroyed. Refugee camps bombed. Water wells decimated. Universities razed. You can't say all that stuff is the right to defend oneself. And Bernie knows better. And that's why when he's confronted on that stupid talking point, you see what he just did. He got quiet. Now he quieter than a church mouse pissing on cotton. Not because he doesn't have something to say, but because his choices are to either lie and get caught in a lie or tell the truth and actually take a principled but dangerous position. And Bernie's reminding us that he ain't willing to do that. Not on this issue.